So back in 1975, Myung Moon, the founder of the Unification Church, got his top people together. And what he laid out was this incredible vision that aimed to completely redefine God, humanity's purpose, and their own mission in the world. We're going to go inside that speech to really understand the blueprint he created for this new global movement. Okay, let's just jump right in. I mean, right out of the gate, the tone is radical. The core argument is brutally simple. The existing religious systems have failed. This isn't a call to just, tweak things a little. It's a flat-out declaration that a total replacement is needed to finally get God's real work done on Earth. And that one idea, it's the foundation for everything that follows. All right, so to really get a handle on this blueprint, we're going to break it down into 5 key pieces. We'll start with how they diagnose the problem. Then we'll get into this new idea of God, what the church's mission actually is, the path followers are supposed to take, and we'll wrap up with the movement's absolutely massive global ambitions. Okay, first up, let's understand the core problem. Because before you can sell a solution, you have to define why the world is so broken in the first place. And according to this speech, it's been broken from the very, very beginning. You see, at the heart of this whole worldview is this huge gap between what God wanted and what we actually got. Moon argues that God's original plan was for a perfect world, perfect people, perfect families, but he says that never happened, not even with Jesus, who he claims couldn't fully establish the perfect family God actually intended. So this reframes all of human history as just one long story of failure, ending with Christianity itself not getting the job done. And if you follow that line of thinking, well, the conclusion is kind of obvious, right? If the existing systems, and that includes 2,000 years of Christianity, haven't worked, then they need to be replaced. From this point of view, God needs a new team, a new instrument to finally fulfill his will. And that new group is, of course, the Unification Church. So, this new mission, well, it requires a totally new way of seeing God. The problem, as the speech lays it out, isn't just with us. It's with our entire understanding of who God is. The argument is that traditional Christianity just has it all wrong. The key idea here is the personal God. This isn't some distant, abstract force, a vague concept in the sky. The idea is that God is a being with a real personality, with feelings like sadness and happiness, and, this is the crucial part, with preferences. He's not just indifferent. He has a personal stake in all this. And this is where the theology gets really wild, because it flies right in the face of the idea of unconditional love. The speech basically says God's love is proportional. The closer you are to him, the more you work for him, the more love you get. It functions a lot more like a human relationship than some kind of divine constant. Well, this totally changes the game for a follower. If God plays favorites and his love isn't a given, then the single most important question in your life becomes, how do I get closer to him? How do I become one of the people he prefers? The entire spiritual quest is now about solving that one problem. So that brings us right to the church's mission. If the goal is to get closer to this very personal God, what's the actual job? What's the work you have to do? The speech calls it the work of recreation. Recreation is, well, it's basically a cosmic do-over. The goal is to literally rewind history, to undo the spiritual damage from Adam and Eve's fall from grace, and to finally restore that direct line that humanity was supposed to have with God. We're not just talking about saving a few souls here, we're talking about fixing creation itself. And there's a specific villain standing in the way of this huge project. The main obstacle isn't just ignorance or people not caring. It's an active, real connection to Satan and sin. To get closer to God, you first have to cut ties with this other force. The spiritual life, then, is a battlefield. Okay, so if the mission is clear, what's the playbook? How does a follower actually fight this battle and win their way into God's inner circle? Well, the speech lays out a very specific path to victory. The whole path is broken down into 4 key steps. First, you have to actively cut yourself off from Satan. Second, and this is a really unique idea, a follower has to really connect with God to personally feel the sadness he's felt throughout all of history. Third, you have to push through hardship, seeing it as a way to get closer. And finally, you have to pray for your enemies, just like Jesus did. And this quote just nails the theology of suffering that's being presented here. Hardship isn't a sign you're doing something wrong, it's the express lane to getting close to God. Persecution, hunger, struggle, these aren't things to avoid. No, they're opportunities to prove you're committed, and by doing that, you get deeper into God's own experience, into his heart. And this brings us to our final section, where this whole spiritual path just explodes into a plan for global transformation. This mission was never meant to just stay inside a church building. It was designed to completely reshape the world. So to move the world, the speech lays out 3 strategic pillars. First, the economy. Get control of wealth and build financial foundations in every single country. Second, mass media. Create a hugely powerful global newspaper chain. And third, foundations. Establish the church and its own universities all over the planet. This is a plan for spiritual, intellectual, and economic power. And the scale of this ambition was just mind-blowing. On the very day he gave this speech, Moon was getting ready to send missionaries to 130 countries, all at once. This wasn't some slow 100-year plan. It was a global blitz meant to kick off the next phase of history. And this vision wasn't vague at all. It was incredibly specific. He's talking about creating a newspaper chain to compete with the Associated Press. He mentions a plan to buy the Empire State Building for a World Bank. He calls for a university in every single nation, and even details a practical business to fund the whole thing, a global ginseng tea company. And that's what we're left with, right? This 1975 speech lays out not just a theology, but a full-blown strategy for real-world power. It presents a vision where saving souls is tied directly to building media empires and financial institutions, which really makes you think about the incredible implications of a blueprint like that.